Hey everyone, welcome. Today we'll be going over lower back pain. Why does it happen? Where do we start? And what do we do? Well, let's first understand that lower back pain is coming from your lumbar spine. The lumbar spine is that little arch part of that lower back, and it can come from the spine itself. It can also come from the sacroiliac joint or your sacrum and hip meeting point. So those two are the main kind of sources of pain. It can come from vertebral instability, or it can come from more of a soft tissue problem that can pinch nerves, can create also all sorts of feelings or tingling feeling along the leg, into the glutes, the hamstrings, and even your feet. So let's talk about number one. Stabilize your spine. So let's say you have gotten yourself in trouble, you've fallen off your bike, or you picked up a piece of paper and you are completely stuck. You cannot move. It's very difficult for you to walk, sit, stand, and especially transition. Now, a good, let's say, marker is if you're in your bed, you're lying down and you're trying to just turn to your side, or you're just trying to basically move or shift a little bit side to side and it's completely hurting, then that's a sign that you need to stabilize your spine. Now, stabilizing your spine can take a while. It can take, up to 3, 4, 5 days, depending on your spinal hygiene, number one, and of course, your routine to create stability. So spinal hygiene, what is that? It is basically if you're able to not allow that pain to come out of nowhere at any given point. Meaning you're, let's say, in your house, you're just trying to walk. Okay, walking can be a bit painful, but there's that very, very sharp pain that comes in once in a while, and that's coming from really one thing, and that's spinal instability when you're, let's say, changing directions, or you're reaching for something, or even if you're perhaps just in a slouch position. Now, I'll give you a link to a video that I made quickly about spinal hygiene. It's important you to just brace your core, stay as upright as possible. Even if the upright position is not the most comfortable, we don't want to be rounding the spine, creating opportunity for compensations to develop, which is coming up later on, but also for the spine not to start healing itself correctly by, again, creating internal tension, but by also creating a lot of good stability through your inner thighs, through all these very small pelvic floor muscles that are there. Now, stabilizing that spine, we want to do the big 3 exercises that Stuart McGill really focuses on in his BackFit Pro program. It's going to be side planking, it's going to be doing some bird dogs, it's going to be also doing some McGill curl ups. Now, those 3 exercises have variations or different levels. Make sure to start at level 0 and develop yourself towards the more advanced levels. It might even take you a very long time to get to the, let's say, very, very difficult stuff, but that's okay. Take it one day at a time and be very, very careful that it doesn't create too much of a challenge that you start, again, creating pain. Now, step 2, we want to create mobility without pain. We've gone through those excruciating days of just anything hurts to now, maybe I wake up and if I'm shifting, I'm not in pain, I can go ahead and create some mobility exercises in my routine. So I've done my big 3. Again, you want to avoid to do those right as you wake up because your spine is a little bit more filled up with fluid, or your the intervertebral discs are a bit more filled up, those jelly donuts between the vertebrae. And so we want you to really focus on is within an hour, get your walking, get your sunshine, get yourself to really awaken the body, and then start doing your exercises. Walking 30 minutes 3 times a day is going to be the prescription we're aiming for. So between these 2, you want to be really focusing on walking as well to create good fluidity in the motion, but also creating a lot of lubrication in your spine. So make sure that walking is not painful. We want to, of course, go for small steps at the beginning, higher pace as possible, and then start getting yourself a bit more upright. Think about going to a normal pace as much as possible, of course, without irritating. And if it starts to cramp up after, let's say, 30 minutes, then that's a sign that you need to stop and just go back to resting. Resting should be transitioning a lot through the day. You don't want to be lying down all day. You don't want to be sitting down all day. You want to be moving about, doing some small intermittent walking during the day as well. So the mobility exercises we want to do are thoracic mobility, opening up the chest, rotations. Again, we'll go over those in more specific videos, but it's important to make sure that the rest of the body is able to maintain itself and that you can actually start utilizing these body parts to help alleviate any motion that the spine needs to do. Again, we're still in pain, maybe not at a given transition turning in bed, but perhaps we're sitting, we're standing, oh, there's a bit of pain there, or we're doing a wrong movement and there's a bit of pain as well. So focusing on these. Now, heat is going to be a nice way to help circulation occur in that local area. You can apply heat about 20 minutes a day. Hot showers are nice, baths are good. Just don't do it right after the injury because that will create even more spinal instability. Maybe doing 1 or 2 days of bracing and whatnot. Again, those big 3 exercises, then you can start going into the bathtub and releasing that muscular tension that's been cramping you up. So once we're past this stage, we hope that we're no longer in very, very acute, sharp pain. We're perhaps now feeling a little bit of glute tension. We're feeling tightness in the back, achiness. That's going to be more on the prevent compensation step. So we're going to now try to lengthen our hamstrings. We're going to try to stretch your hip flexors. We're going to also work on some strengthening, of course. We don't want those to just be stretched out. We want them to be strong in their lengthened phase. So going through those mobility exercises, encouraging very, very strong glutes. Gaining function of those glutes again is going to be difficult. That's where usually the spine inhibits the glutes being used, the hips being used, because there's, of course, a very close link between the spine and the hip. But this joint, the sacroiliac joint, will be very, very important to hinge from, but also your actual acetabulum joint there, where you have your femur, your leg, that we want to use especially. So this area we want to be mobile. This we want to slowly get to be a little bit more mobile as well. So preventing compensation, your calves are going to be tight. Your quads are going to be tight. We're going to foam roll those, but we're also going to strengthen those opposite muscles, hamstrings, glutes, anterior tibialis or peroneals. And from there, we hope there'll be a bit more of a dampening of pain, because pain can come from not only the structure, but it can also come from your compensations. Now, step 4, ensure good nerve health. That's going to be regarding any nerve entrapment that could have happened during the injury. We might have a bit of a pinch at the disc. We might have also some irradiating pain in the sciatic nerve. So we want to make sure that the sciatic nerve is being flossed. We can also help our discs by creating some repositioning of the disc through McKenzie exercises or protocols, which are again going to be linked in future videos. And that's going to be important just to make sure that doesn't come back in the long term, but also doesn't linger for too long in a chronic way. The other nerve entrapments that can come, more of the prudental nerve, some nerves that are basically around your pelvic area. You might have tingling in that pubic region. That is normal post-injury. You might even have radiation down the leg, in front of the leg. But again, we want to be making sure that this is structurally sound and that the nerves don't get very entangled or entrapped in that. Increase function. This is going to be the lifelong journey, because once you've got lower back pain, sorry to say, but you're going to be more susceptible to getting re-injured if you're not careful. Of course, being careful doesn't mean that you need to be a robot and stay as stable as possible. It's not very functional, but we want to increase function in the sense of being able to have higher resilience to different odd positions, but also increase the efficiency of certain movements that we do day to day, whether it's picking stuff up, whether it's carrying things and walking, or even putting things overhead. So we want to increase the capacity of certain muscles, of certain synergies, by basically going through movement patterns that are going to be important: squatting, split squatting, picking things up from the ground. Again, it doesn't have to be heavy in terms of a very power lifted, driven kind of approach, but we need to find ways to get strong so that when we are picking up a box, when we're moving, when we're helping out a friend, getting things out of the car, that we don't create an opportunity for injury, because our brain has gone through this exercise, this possibility of understanding what to do, what to brace, what to activate when we're in those kinds of situations. So I hope this caps up a little bit the overall lower back pain protocol that we're trying to achieve here. There are multiple steps within each steps, of course, more tips to be applied as well. But don't forget, step one, let's stabilize that spine. Let's really get everything braced. Let's get the breathing correct. Let's make sure that our spine is not unstable and creating pain at any toss and turn. We want to create mobility in our hips. We want to create mobility in our spine. We want to start moving without pain. Of course, we want to be careful that we are always making sure that we're not going too fast in our progressions. So keep that in mind. Step 3, prevent compensation. We got to make sure that we're enriching those right muscles by decreasing the load on the wrong muscles: stretching, foam rolling, myofascial release, massaging, even baths. Step 4, ensure good nerve health. We're going to floss. We're going to make sure that we can release any nerve tingling. Step 5, let's increase function. Let's keep training, and let's get ourselves back into our fitness journey. All right. Thanks again for joining at Healthy Bastari. Make sure to follow more videos, subscribe, and check out our YouTube channel that we have lots of different small exercises. We also have free workouts, so come join us there, and hope to see you in our next video. Cheers.